for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche And after 22 years, Raymond Mark!
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. And Pierre, you might notice I've got an Irish pub background going today with some shamrocks on me. I wonder why that would be.
Well, because we had the most amazing phone call today with Sarah Stanton and Stevie Thornton, who I spoke with earlier today via text. And Jimmy and I are really excited to be heading back to Belfast for the Friendship Four. And this year it's a very unique group of universities, starting with RIT in Miami of Ohio and Sacred Heart, and finally out of the ECAC, Union College.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the second trip ever for Union to head over there. Sarah was amazing. I sent her a text, Jimmy, right after we were done. Her energy, her passion on the call, her excitement for the teams that are going and the people that are part of it. It's really, I can't wait to get going with her. I know you feel the same way.
I am, hence my outfit. And I'll tell you too, like Cara Travel now, for those wanting more information on the Friendship Four. And Pierre, don't forget, not only will we be going over for the men's, a month later, we'll be going over for the women's as well. And apparently we will be spending New Year's Eve in Belfast.
Yes, well, as a very unique place, by the way, north of Belfast. So,
I will be a good boy.
I will be your chaperone.
I know.
A good boy.
We did well last year.
Yes, we did. Yes,
so we're very excited about that. But yes, Cara Travel that Sarah runs is currently in the process of building a website, its own website for the Friendship Four. So to be able to get lots of information there. When that is up and running, we will pass the link along to you. Highly suggest for any college hockey fans out there, or just anyone who wants to go over and see a beautiful city like Belfast in Northern Ireland, and go around and see all the sites. I highly suggest checking this out. It was just, it was an amazing experience, and I know this one will be even better. So really looking forward to that. Thanks to Sarah and Cara Travel, and of course the Belfast Giants and our good friends there. You mentioned Mr. Thornton. And our good friend Robert.
I'm not forgetting Robert Fitzpatrick. Don't worry. Robert knows. I don't forget him. We stay in touch via email quite often. Jimmy, one thing we are forgetting, though, one of the cool parts of the trip is you fly from North America, if that's where you're coming from,
mm-hmm.
to Dublin. You get off and they get you a hotel for the day and
yep.
night. And then you go and you tour Dublin, and you end up going to Guinness, and you end up going to Jameson's, and hopefully you come to the Harry Lemon, and our friend Michael will set us up there again.
Yep.
We're almost like creatures of habit, so we go to the same places quite often. And I know last year we had a ton of fun with the people from Notre Dame, the people from BU, the people from Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
We just had an unbelievable, I think you would agree, that was an amazing time, especially at the Harry Lemon the first day that everybody gets there.
Yeah.
And so Jimmy and I are going to do the show from the Harry Lemon. We're going to do the show from the Harp in Belfast.
Right.
And we're efforting right now to go to the Merchants Hotel in Belfast for 2 of the 3 shows we'll do out of Belfast on non-game days. And the reason why I bring that up, and Jimmy knows I took him in there last year, I've been so fortunate over all the course of my career to go into some pretty amazing hotel lobbies. I'm not sure I've ever been in one, especially at that time of the year, about 20 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
Like what Merchants lobby is like. And I brought Jimmy in there last year, and I think you would agree with me.
It's like it's a throwback to another era for sure.
It's an old bank, and now it's a hotel. It's a high caliber hotel.
Yep.
And we're actually efforting right now through Sarah to do at least 1 and probably 2 of our shows from the lobby bar. And I'm not even sure I'm supposed to call it a lobby bar, because it's doing it a disservice.
Yeah.
It's a unbelievably historic place.
Yes.
And so hopefully that will get approved. And so I think what it would be is Tuesday and Thursday we'd be working from there. Wednesday we'd be working from the Harp. Mm-hmm. And then Friday between games 1 and 2, we'd be doing a show from the communal box upstairs at the arena in Belfast.
Yes, and for those that don't know, too, this all takes place during American Thanksgiving week. So we will once again be over there for Thanksgiving. I'll tell you, if they put out the spread like they did last year, Pierre, we're in business. That was a heck of a dinner we had, and what a great speech by you as well.
Thank you. I was so grateful to be there. I know you were too. I thought last year that was so great for our show. It was really great for, I thought, the tournament. We met so many cool people. My daughter, to be totally transparent, my daughter was living and working in Dublin at the time. And so she gave Jimmy and I a little tour of some of the local establishments. And there was one we went to in the square down in Smithfield, Jimmy, and it was all locals. There were no tourists there.
Nope.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah. That was great.
That was really cool.
We saw our session there. Remember?
We did.
That was great. I loved it. So really looking forward to that, and it'll be here before we know it. I mean, Grace, we're almost up on August right now, Pierre. And speaking of, that means hockey's getting closer, but we're still in the off season here. And Pierre, it's interesting when we went into this off season for the NHL. One of the hot topics was this could be the summer of the offer sheet. Everybody was getting excited because of what happened between Edmonton and St. Louis last year, and figured with more cap space available that teams would be willing to do this. And yet I think one of the two things I think they forgot, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, Pierre, and I'd love to get your take on why it hasn't happened either. But two things that stood out to me were, well, yeah, everybody has more cap space, and that means the teams that possess the players that you want to offer sheet. So they have more ability to match that offer sheet. And also, I think that people, and we've been trying to say it here in the eye test over and over again, this was no knock on the players in this past year's draft, what we just saw last month, no knock on them at all. But it's just a fact that the 2026 draft, obviously with Gavin McKenna at the top and some amazing players there in the top 5, but even deeper than that, it's expected to be a deep draft and a solid draft. So teams, I think, Pierre, are maybe looking at it saying, I don't know if I want to surrender a first round pick for next year, because you never know. I mean, I may be pegged as a favorite, but look at the Boston Bruins. They were pegged as a contender heading into last season, not by us, but they were pegged by many as a contender, Pierre. They end up in the lottery. So you never know. And do you really want to give up that chance in an offer sheet situation?
Love that. Everything you said I totally agree with. That's number one. Number two, wasn't this supposed to be the summer of massive arbitration rulings? And how many arbitration rulings have we seen so far?
None. And we only have, Pierre, too. I was just looking right as we were coming on the air. We have 6 arbitration hearings scheduled left. That's it. You got Soderblom with the Blackhawks. I'm going to murder the poor guy's name. Tsiplikov, excuse me. No T there. With the Islanders, Dylan Sandberg with the Jets, Connor Timmins with the Sabres, Nick Robinson with the Leafs, and Jaden Struble with the Canadiens. I would be willing to say, and I'm pretty sure you agree with me, Pierre, I don't think any of them reach. I really don't.
I'd be surprised. I think most of these deals will get done on the courthouse steps. We've talked about this a lot. Part of what's influencing some of this right now, and if you're an agent, I get what you're doing. So I'm not picking a fight with you.
Oh, doing a job.
You're doing your job, and I totally respect you for it. But if you're a member of the media and your source is an agent, shame on you. Shame on you. Because that's not a source.
Yeah.
That's a conduit. It's a big difference.
Yes.
Big difference.
And it's interesting. Oh, go ahead, Pierre. Keep going.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, well, I told you earlier today, I'm working on a story on this exact topic right now. And one of the things I wanted to make sure I did was when I talk to different sources, that it's not just on the agent side, that I'm getting the GM's perspective, the team perspective as well, because I agree with you. It's very important to see the difference there, because like you said, agents are doing their job. And
this is not a reflection on the agents at all. They're doing their job. They're utilizing every single avenue that's available for them to create positive environment and vibe about their player. Completely and utterly, there's nothing wrong with that. They're doing the right thing. They're representing their constituent. They're doing a really good job of it. The problem is most media members, especially the ones that kind of don't want to push hard in the summer, I get it. I understand they work hard in the winter. I get it. Trust me. But now they're just putting stuff out there that's gospel, which is not correct. It's just not. So, look, it is what it is right now. A very interesting marketplace. There are a lot of teams that have not done enough to match organizational expectation in terms of their offseason moves to date. I would say the Rangers are one of those teams. I would say that there's some Los Angeles is probably another one that's probably going to have to do a little bit more to meet organizational expectation. Doesn't mean they're bad teams, but to take it the next step, I think Washington probably will be much more aggressive as we go along here. And as much as I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are a good team, and I think they're way better than the pundits are saying.
I do too.
I still think they're maybe a piece away, maybe two. And I'm sure they're going to be proactive. I just know Keith Pelley. I just know him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was signed by him. I worked for him. I did 3 or 4 Olympics for him. I trust me. I know him really well. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you that after he fired Brendan Shanahan, he knew that there had to be some shifts happening internally. And one of the things that I think that was really smart that they said, and they've identified that, they needed to change a bit of their DNA on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
So they've gotten, to use a phrase from our friend Brian Burke, more truculent.
Yes.
And I like that term from Brian. And I think Keith and Brad Treliving have done a good job of that. But their teams, they're not the only ones either, by the way.
No.
But there are other teams that need to do more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know everybody's anointing Carolina as the Stanley Cup champs. I know they are. I mean, I see the betting lines. Jimmy points them out to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they've done enough.
No. I mean, was it last week or the week before, Pierre, when we were discussing their blue line and how much it went from such a great strength like 2 to 3 seasons ago to maybe their weakness now.
You just have to look at Jimmy, just to back your point up.
Yeah.
Brady Shea is in Nashville. Brent Burns is in Colorado. Scotty Morrow, who we consider maybe their second best prospect on defense, he's with the New York Rangers. They brought in Keandre Miller. He was part of the deal. And don't forget Brett Pesce. Pesce's been a top 4 guy for them forever. And then he goes to New Jersey. And without him, they weren't very good. With him, they were very good. So internally, Carolina's lost 4 guys that they thought were going to be at least top 5 guys in their organization. They're gone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the D right now. So let's just read the names off here. And another thing I want to point out is the age, too. So you got Keandre Miller, 25 years old as we speak. Jacob Slavin, 31 years old. Sean Walker, 30 years old. Shane Gostisbehere, 32 years old. Jalen Chatfield, 29. Mike Riley, 32. And Alexander Nikishin is the one young, up-and-coming, you could say, potential star that they have at 23.
And he will be.
Yeah.
And I still think Keandre Miller, especially with working with Tim Gleason down there, who coaches their defense, I think Keandre will learn a lot from Tim, and I think he'll get better there, which is important because this is not a knock on anybody that had Keandre before in the pros or last year in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Keandre didn't get better. Braden Schneider didn't. I'm talking about Rangers now. Braden Schneider didn't get better. Adam Fox had a tough year. You look at, Jacob Trouba got traded away. He had a bad start in New York. Like, you go look at it. Defense was a big reason why the Rangers weren't very good last year.
Yeah.
None of their guys got better.
And I think, too, Pierre, one thing I would hope that they've made clear to Keandre Miller, because, and look, I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just telling it like it is. There was this, because of his size, and his reputation coming in the league, people just continue to try and make him out to be like not a strictly fighter, but a guy that was going to be willing to drop the gloves a lot more than he does. And it's just not him necessarily. He is who he is. And that expectation didn't go away, I felt like.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it weighed on him. So maybe now with a fresh start, they can say, look, this is what we want you to be. We want you to be yourself. Just go out there and be yourself. And I wonder if that will help him turn things around down there.
Well, I think it might. I think it's a great point. And I also think, again, Tim Gleason, we don't talk nearly enough about a lot of these assistant coaches.
You do.
I know. Because I know every staff. I know the guys on the staff. I either watch them grow up as young players and then watch what they did early in their careers as coaches, or I watch them coach, or I coached against some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys are really good. Other guys are complete frauds.
Yep.
And what's amazing is some of the frauds keep getting jobs.
Mm.
And they know who they are.
Yeah.
And the only reason I don't say their names is out of respect to the profession.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a bunch of them out there.
Yeah, but there's also, like you said, some who are, very much unsung heroes.
Oh, hey, Mike Van Ryan, I can tell you right now, if St. Louis doesn't have Mike Van Ryan when Berube's there, I'm not sure they win.
Yeah.
Because I watched the improvement of their defense. Mike Van Ryan did a fantastic job. Look what he did in Toronto last year.
Yep.
Did a really good job with their team. Those guys got better.
Yeah.
All of them. Look at Simon Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really got Alex Pietrangelo when he was in St. Louis. He just kept getting better and better all the time with Mike Van Ryan.
Yeah,
Colt Parayko, same thing. Nick Leddy, same. Like I can go down the line. Justin Falk, all those guys got better. So look, I'm a fan of the coaches because I did it for a living. I talked to a media member the other day who called me. I said, I remember watching you on the ice. You'd stay out there all day long with some of these guys. Yeah, because I loved it and I wanted the guys to get better.
Right.
And the relationships you have with some of those guys who you worked with all those years ago, you still have it.
Mm-hmm.
I got an amazing note the other day from one of my former players. I'm just so proud of him. And he just said, I wasn't sure where we were going with all this. And now I sit back all these years later and I get it. I wasn't really loving you.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to love me, And so I thought that was really cool. I thought it was good. So
what about Robidas with the Canadiens too?
He's really doing a good job, and he keeps getting better. And part of that with Stefan, I think, is that he had to work so hard to get in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
And because he wasn't an overly large guy, he had to use his feet a lot. He had to use his brain and his feet a lot.
Yep.
He figured it out. And I called most of the early part of his career because I was working in Montreal on the radio, and then I was doing TSN. And Gord Miller and I did a lot of those games when he was just breaking in the league. And you could just see every year he kept getting a little bit better all the time. So I was really happy for him. He's a tremendous person. Tremendous.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Pierre, so just getting back though to the offer sheet thing too. I think another thing too, as you pointed out numerous times, is like Edmonton and St. Louis were a very unique situation. We were trying to identify it and let people know to watch, like keep an eye on this. But I don't like when I look around the league right now to see that situation for a team. I don't see too many teams right now where if I'm a GM, my eyes widen and say, "Oh, I could nail that. Like I could really do."
The only guy I would say,
Edmonton again.
Can't hear you.
Would it be Edmonton again?
No, I don't think they'd do that again. The only guy I would see that I'd be really hungry for and I'd be prepared to pay a price for is Mason McTavish.
Right. That's the one everyone's talking about.
And I would. And I've been telling you for a long time, both on the air and off the air, if you really wanted an elite or a potential elite second center, that's the guy you target because he's in the right age group. He hasn't maxed out and he's still got potential for major growth and he's already a good player.
Right. But I didn't convey myself before. Sorry, you misunderstood. What I was trying to say, Pierre, I'm looking at teams that could be victim to an offer sheet.
Oh.
And I feel like Edmonton is that team again.
Yeah, they could be, but I don't.
But there's not really a target on there that everyone's really looking at. I'm with you on Mason McTavish. But Pierre, with Mason McTavish, you look at the Ducks right now, they got 21.3 in cap space. Aren't they just going to say, go ahead, do it, I'll match you?
The one thing that's really good there now, Dr. Samuel, he's a good owner. And he's really endorsed Pat Verbeek by allowing him to hire Joel Quenneville.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important. And Joel's done a great job. We know Chris Kreider. We know for a fact. Jimmy and I know for a fact. If Joel Quenneville's not the coach in Anaheim, Chris Kreider's not going to Anaheim. Just tell him he's not. He's not going there. So we're really good friends with Joel, but we're also really good friends with Greg Cronin, the guy that Joel replaced. So we kind of know what's going on there a little bit.
Yeah, we're kind of middle of that.
Yeah, and all I'll say is I think Pat and his staff with Martin Madden and all the guys there have done a really good job in Anaheim. And now I'm starting to see people with their prognostication saying, yeah, Anaheim's going to make it. Anaheim's going to – I think we said that 2 months ago before all this stuff happened, before Joel got there. So I'm really bullish on Anaheim, and I think they're going to do really well.
Yeah, and speaking of Chris Kreider, him and an array of NHL players.
That's a great event. That's a great
tomorrow.
event.
That is down in Stamford, Connecticut. I just want to give a shout out and thanks to Eric Oppen for letting us know about this a few weeks back. Terry Connor's rink in Stamford, Connecticut tomorrow. The game starts at 6:30. Everything opens up at 4 with a ton of festivities, raffles, food, what have you in the parking lot there. And then as you get in, you can see a great skills showcase, and then they'll have a great game there. And Chris Kreider will be part of that. I think our good friend Spencer Knight is also going to be on that.
Yeah.
So that's if you're in that area, if down in Connecticut, I highly suggest going out. I know they're pretty slim on tickets. They might already be sold out.
Yeah, they might be slim on tickets, but I'll tell you one thing: there's plenty of parking there. That used to be in my old backyard when we were living in Connecticut and I was working at NBC. So I know Terry Connor's rink really well, and it's down by the water. It's by the Long Island Sound. There's a lot of good stuff to do when you're done after the game. If you want to go into South Norwalk or you want to go into maybe New Canaan or different parts of Stamford, there's lots to do there after the game if you're interested. But it's a great cause, and I know Chris Kreider's been a big part of it for a long time.
Yeah, so check that out. I'll even give you the website right now. It's shouldercheck.org. You can find out all the info right there. Speaking of Chris Kreider too, Pierre, another thing I was thinking about with him and the link to Anaheim there too, Strome as well. He reunites with him, which from what I've read, they had a pretty good relationship when they were both on the Rangers. So be interesting to see if they can sort of find that chemistry again there.
Yeah, don't forget Jacob Trouba too, even though they don't play together, but Trouba's out there as well. I think it's going to be interesting in Anaheim.
I like that team a lot.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think don't sleep on them. If I'm LA right now, I'm watching San Jose and I'm watching Anaheim and I'm going, these guys got a lot of young guys that are pretty good. And now Anaheim in particular, they've gone out and gotten some older guys that are going to help calm the waters when it has to be calm. And they're heading the right direction.
Yeah.
Pierre, if I'm LA, I'm looking at that. If I'm Seattle, I'm looking at that going, this might not be good for us.
Yeah. Speaking of, we'll just say right there, we're talking about the Pacific Division. Pierre was thinking about this. I forgot to actually mention it today when we spoke, but I'll say it right here, and we can get the picks from our listeners and viewers as well. I was thinking maybe as we get closer to the end of the offseason, we'll figure out the math on the Wednesdays there, give ourselves enough time. I think we did this last year. We start looking at each division.
We did.
And maybe we do 2 up, 2 down in terms of teams, like two that might fall out and 2 that might jump up into the playoffs.
Love it. That's a great idea.
So I'll map out the calendar and we'll do it. And the listeners and viewers, you're more than welcome to join us on that. So
love that.
Because I do think there's going to be some changes. Some teams that were in the playoffs last year that don't make it this year.
There are a few teams that are going to be interesting to watch. Like Minnesota, our friend Billy Guerin, with Marco Rossi. What's Kaprizov's number going to be? They're going to get him signed. We had Mr. Leopold on the show. They're getting him signed. It's just going to be, what's his number going to be? What are they going to do with Marco Rossi? What are they going to do with all that extra cap space that they got from Suter and Parise's contracts going away? Like there's a lot going on there. I think Minnesota, they've played a little bit hard on the free agent market in terms of college free agents that you're aware of. And they hired a really good American League coach in Greg Crone. They went out and got a top-end guy.
Yep.
So they have a vision for what they want to do there. And that's one team that's not getting a lot of play that I think people better be aware of.
Pierre, do you think I'm right when I'm thinking maybe Billy Guerin is looking at that extra cap space he has now and saying, I think I save some of this for maybe the deadline and then next offseason when I think more better players are going to be available?
I do. I think it's a really good way to look at it. And the other part, too, is don't forget Billy's going to be the GM of Team USA. So when from all the Olympics I've done, whether it was the Canadian GMs or the American GMs, they were running NHL teams. They always had more intel on higher-end players because they had to. They were exposed to it all. But those guys, even though they have relatively large staffs, those guys are the final decision makers.
Yeah, good point.
So they get all, and I've watched this since 2002. I've watched it happen. I've been like, damn, these guys they're getting a lot of serious. It's like, I'm not going to lie. They might get intel. I was getting way more intel than anybody else.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the Olympic situation with people, you're spending a lot of private time with them.
Exactly.
And you're finding stuff out that nobody else is getting because you're inside the ropes.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you're at the Olympics, like you have to go to the mix zone unless you're broadcasting the games. Then you're in a different situation.
Right.
And that's, I can just tell you, whether it was Salt Lake City, whether it was Torino, whether it was Vancouver, whether it was Sochi, whether it was Pyeongchang, even though there weren't NHL guys, Kaprizov was there.
That's right.
I mean, a lot of guys were over there, so
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I remember Marco Sturm, the new Bruins coach, was over there.
He got his team to.
I remember you messaging me when you were over there saying, Jimmy, this guy can coach. Like we didn't really know what he was like, and you're like, this guy can coach, man. He's going to be a coach someday somewhere.
I did. I remember actually doing that with you. Marco blew me away because I was such a fan of him as a player before he even got to San Jose. But I got to give credit where credit's due, and I hope somebody that's watching. I don't know if John Ferguson Jr. will be watching this, but he does a really good job working with Utah now, the Grizzlies. But his father, John Ferguson Sr., was a really good friend of mine and somebody that I worked for and worked against. And John was probably one of the biggest benefactors for Marco Sturm. He thought right away. I remember I don't know if I was in Finland or Sweden, I forget. Fergie didn't like to talk about amateur players because it was like a little secret. But he and I shared stuff all the time. And he said, this, Pete, I'm telling you. And he was, he had the big, his hand was humongous.
Oh, yeah.
He had the big mitts, and he talked to you with his hand. And he go, this guy's something else. He says, we better get this guy in San Jose. I'm like, wow, Fergie. And they did.
Yeah. John Ferguson Jr., Pierre, I used to sit next to him a lot in the press box.
Yeah.
And, for those that don't know, he was and we're talking about Marco Sturm, who was involved in this trade. He was very instrumental in that Joe Thornton trade. I mean, he was in Boston a lot watching Joe. Like this was where he was based around here.
He's Rhode Island. He's in Rhode Island.
Exactly. So he I'm pretty sure he played a major role in that in terms of scouting. So it was a great deal. But hey, I thought when you look back on that deal and you say, all right, okay, we can knock it all we want. But Marco Sturm worked for the Bruins. That was a great.
Hey, Brad Stewart was a good defenseman.
And he was too.
Ryan Primo was a reliable player. It's not a knock on any of those guys.
Not their fault. They were
not one of those guys was Joe Thornton.
Right.
And that's why they got 3 for 1.
Yep.
But the truth is, Mike O'Connell he makes the trade.
He did.
The ownership told Mike to make the trade.
Yeah, exactly. And Mike doesn't get enough credit, and I'm not taking anything away from Peter Chiarelli because obviously he did a great job putting that team together that won the cup. But Mike had his imprint in that team for sure.
100% he did. The one other thing I want to say too, you talk about Pete. Pete had a little bit of an inside advantage when he got to Dano Char. So let's just be crystal clear on that.
Yeah.
Which kind of swings an organizational momentum just a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just I don't know why summertime. I forgot to turn the do not disturb on, Pierre. I apologize.
All right. You're good.
He's on right now. And speaking of, let's get disturbed by our wonderful viewers and listeners here right now. Let them ask their questions. I know they've been waiting patiently. I see them lining up, and we're down in the bottom half of the hour. So let me tell you about our good friends over at Betway right now. It's the second half of the baseball season. The pennant races are starting to heat up. I think it's going to be a trade deadline coming up soon. There's tons of stuff you can do when it comes to baseball over there. You also can get some MLS bets if you're a soccer fan. And then the Premier League is going to be coming up in August. So even though it's the off season for hockey and the NFL and the NBA, there's still plenty to do over the Betway. And the best thing is, if you sign up right now and you're a new member, you can get up to $200 credit back, even if your first bet loses. So go right now to the QR code right in front of you, order the details section in the website, and sign up over there for your new account to redeem the welcome offer. Remember, this offer is currently not available in Ontario. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 18 plus and always bet responsibly. Let's go to the Q&A. What do we got? Joe, Pierre, you know Pittsburgh well. So how can we convince Sid to be traded to a good team? Sad is staying with a team in last position. Sid, you can give Pitt great young players if you move. I want to say one thing before Joe potentially gets slaughtered by some of our viewers for spelling Sidney Crosby wrong or Sid. I've done this before. I said, why can't people spell his name right? I've noticed now, Pierre, auto type corrects it to the SYD. It's so frustrating. I've had to go back and correct it a lot when I'm writing stories. For some reason, it goes right to SYD. So we'll let Joe off the hook there. But Pierre, what do you think of that?
I think it's all in Sid's hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Sid will make a decision with Pat Brisson and his family at some point. Pat obviously has represented Sidney since he was probably 14 years old, maybe even younger. So they've had an amazing relationship for a long period of time. And I think Pat's done an amazing job for Sidney. Just like I think Mario Lemieux, as a mentor, has done an amazing job for Sidney. But I've been asked this question on so many different shows.
Oh, gosh. It's the question of the summer.
And all I can say is, because I have so much respect for Sidney, again, knowing him for a long time, that what I say doesn't matter. The only thing I'll say is he should be allowed to pick where he goes and if he goes.
Okay.
That's probably the best answer I can give you.
Pierre, you don't have to get into what you know about the ownership situation right now. So I'm putting this as a hypothetical, okay? I want to stress that. If Mario Lemieux became part of the ownership there again in Pittsburgh, do you think that leads us to Sid staying there in Pittsburgh? Could that ever have an effect on it, or that doesn't matter? It just matters.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I would tell you.
I was wondering about that the other day, and I'm like,
it's more than fair to ask, but I'm not going to do a hypothetical on something
Okay.
I don't know anything about, so I don't know.
All right, let's go to the next question. What do we have? Ethan Russell, do you like the Sabres centers? Who do you think will be their 1C? How did you like their off-season moves? I don't know. It's hard to lose Peterka, but Kesselring and Dome seem to have more to develop and grow.
I don't know why Tage Thompson can't be their number one center. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a great point.
I don't know. I just want to see what happens with Buffalo. I don't want to speculate on Buffalo. I want to see what happens with Buffalo. Buffalo hadn't played a playoff game in a long time, since 2010, I think, Jimmy, or 2011.
Yep.
I would like to. I'd like to see, what happens with Buffalo going straight ahead. But number one center, I'd be looking at Tage Thompson. He can score a whack of goals. He can run your first power play or be part of it, and he can make the players around him better.
So right now, Pierre, and just is based on what Puckpedia has on the depth chart, you've got Norris, McLeod, Kulich, and Krebs up the middle. Yep. So let's say you move.
Josh is a perfect too, and but Josh has to stay healthy. But
who gets bumped out of the center position then, out of those four?
Probably Yuri Kulich.
That's what I'd say too. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
But he can play wing.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, it's hard to find. We just talked about Joe Thornton.
Yeah,
Joe Thornton was a big, physical, powerful center iceman. You got to have one of those to win.
Right. And they've got one of them on the wing.
But Josh Norris is real good too. He'd be an elite too if he stayed healthy. He'd be an elite too.
I agree on that. All right, next question. Mike, Pierre, you have coached against so many great players. Who were three that were the toughest to game plan for? I think
Raymond Bourque would be one. Brian Leach would be another. And that guy 99 in LA was pretty good too. So those would be most. The powerhouse that was Detroit. You had to pick your poison, whether you were going to plan up against Yzerman or Fedorov. And once Bowman got to Detroit, it changed a lot of things. It really did, in terms of how they were running their bench. And as a visiting coach, you got slaughtered. I can just tell you. You could be as well trained as anybody in the league, but when you went to Detroit, when Scotty was there, you could get wiped out. Another one, because it's only three, asked me, but now I think about Lindros wasn't a total fun guy to game plan for. Mm-hmm. Eric was big, he was fast, he was mean, he could shoot the puck through a wall. The Legion of Doom line was so darn good with Renberg and Leclerc and him. That was crazy stuff. When I was coaching the league, Messier was really good. Messier was really good in New York. But he wasn't as hard to game plan for because he wasn't as creative. He was a powerhouse. So you had to make sure you had the right physical dimension against them. So that's a great question. I could probably go around the whole league and pick up one or two guys that, those would be some of the more difficult ones.
Did you find that, one position could be tougher than the other to prep for? Like you mentioned 2 defensemen out of the 3 there. So I was wondering, were defensemen harder?
Well, Leach was because he was so mobile.
Mhm.
And Brian was a great first pass defenseman, just like Raymond was. Brian wasn't as good on the right side. He was much better on the left side. Raymond could play both sides. He was a left shot. Raymond was so darn physical and strong, though. It was hard. You know how Paul Marie said guys shouldn't shake hands, the coaches shouldn't shake hands with the players? I don't disagree with Paul very often, but on this one I do. Because I watched what we did to Raymond Bourque 2 playoffs in a row, and he went through it like unbelievable.
He acknowledged it on the.
He acknowledged it on our show, like he
Yeah.
knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
But it was the way we did it. Like
Mhm.
it was where we put pucks, how we attacked on the forecheck. If he was playing on the right side, if he was playing on the left side, there was a little bit of science that went into it. And I wanted to shake his hand just to say, I don't know if I've ever met a man tougher than you.
Mm.
What we did to you probably should be outlawed, but you're an amazingly tough man. I'll always have so much respect for you. And
Yeah,
that's why I think coaches should shake players' hands after playoff series.
I'm with you on that one. All right, next question. Randy Workman, what's up, Randy? Connor Zary contract talks are not going well. Should I worry about this? I'm going to say no, Randy. I think
I'm with Jimmy. No,
they'll figure it out. I mean, both sides want to make it work. I don't think there's any animosity there. I think he'll be all right.
I'm with Jimmy. Well said, Jimmy. I couldn't agree more. Sorry, Randy. I have nothing else to add. That's a good statement by Jimmy.
All right, next question. Juice _031 Pierre, do you like the new rule that allows 19-year-olds to finally play in the AHL? I do.
It's only one. It's one per team.
Okay.
So I do. I don't want to see junior operators get decimated, though. Like Porter Martone just left Brampton, to go to Michigan State. I think we're going to see more guys go too. Obviously, Gavin McKenna left Medicine Hat to go to Penn State. But we're going to see more. Tri-City Americans lost a defenseman. Like, we're going to see more guys leave to go to college. So that's going to make it hard on the junior operators.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to see their business crushed. I talked to a friend of mine that's really wealthy, and he said to me, like, Pierre, I want to invest in hockey. I said, one thing I'd do if I were you? I'd really look at it. If you could get the right staff, I'd try to buy a junior team.
I knew you were going to say that.
I really would.
Because everybody's down on them right now.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the market's kind of going down a little bit. And I know, people are going to say, well, look at the London Knights and the Hunters and what they do. They get 9,000 people a game.
Right. Not everybody.
Not everybody's like that. They're coining money out there.
Yeah.
Like Edmonton Oil Kings, they're coining money out there. I look at the attendance every night in every league. I know that's crazy, but I do. Because I'm fascinated by where different hotspots are right now. And I think if you buy the right junior team, you could do well, I think. Zach Hyman's family just bought a junior team. They paid a lot of money for it. Mm-hmm. And his brother's the general manager of the team. And I think they're going to have a good team. But they've lost players to college hockey.
Yeah, and I like what you said, Pierre, last week. It wasn't last week. It was this Monday. You were on with Jeff Marek, talking about this very topic there. Yep. And you were adamant, saying, hey, don't be so down on juniors right now. When the dust settles, they're going to do all right. And I'm with you. I think it's just everybody's kind of learning what this is going to be like right now, and it will settle itself.
I'm very comfortable saying this in an open forum because I had to go through it. My son was drafted in major junior hockey, and he was playing for an amazing prep school in the United States, Belmont Hill. Mm-hmm. And we were so proud. He started there in 8th grade, and he went all the way to grade 11. And then because of COVID and other things, he went out to play in Penticton for our friend Fred Harbinson. But had the rule been different, and major junior players could have gone to play college hockey, my son would have gone and reported to the team that Joel Bouchard was running when my son was drafted by Blainville. And I would have, without a doubt, let him go there. Yeah. Without a doubt, I would have let him go there.
All right. Next question. WPHL, do you think Niels Höglander can establish himself in a top 9 spot this season?
I do. And he's going to have to. But I do think he will. I really do. I think he will. Yep. I mean, great point, too. Really good. Good question like that.
Because 2 years ago, he looked like he was on his way. All right, next question. Brad K, with the new CBA, will contracts be prorated to cover the extra 2 regular season games?
I don't think so, Brad.
I'll find out for sure, Brad.
I haven't seen an addendum to that. I could be wrong. Maybe it's hidden somewhere in the fine print, but I haven't. And Brad, by the way, we've been in touch with your friend, so thank you for forwarding the intel to Jimmy.
Yep. Very happy with that. All right, next question. Renaissance Resistor, thoughts on Mitch Marner's view of the dump and chase?
Hey, I got news for him. Better not say that to his new coach. If he thought Torch was tough on him, wait till Rick gets home. I don't. He's just he's a really good player. I don't think that's a big deal.
Yep. All right. Next question. Paul Cormier, guys, love your podcast. As a Habs fan, some players, including Line, were on the ice yesterday. As of today, they're on again today too. As of today's roster, what players do you think will be on the number 1 and number 2 power plays?
Yeah, that's a good one too, Paul. I know everybody thinks Line is going to be on the number 1 power play. I'm not so sure about that. I'm thinking, especially now with Dobson being there. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, the coach wants to run an efficient bench, and he knows there's matchups that are going to happen against Slavkovsky, against Caulfield, and Suzuki. So the one time where you break them away from matchups on the power play. So I'm not sure that those guys will be different. Maybe if they go 4 forwards and 1 D, so they use Hudson, and maybe Liney finds a way to be on that top unit, maybe. But if they go 2 and 3, so if they go Dobson and Hudson because they're at the end of a period or something, I could see where they have roster flexibility and they can do that too. So it's going to be, Demidov's got to find a way to be on one of those 2 power plays, and I'm sure he will be. And so do they give Dobson one of the power plays? And Hudson's not coming off the first power play.
No.
We know that. He's not. He's just not.
No, because we saw how much it improved.
So it'll be interesting. The one thing I think this benefits by getting Dobson, the guy that I think benefits the most is Mike Matheson. I think Mike will have way more game this year because he won't be playing a lot of those minutes where he's just burning energy.
Yeah.
Mike will be an amazingly efficient player this year. It's a great question by Paul. I like it.
All right. Next question. A to Z me, is Pierre picking the Leafs to go all the way this year too?
I picked them this year, this past year, 100% I did. And they were up 2-0, 3-1 in game 3 of on the road. Their goaltender got hurt, and they were never the same team. They got multiply crucified in 5 and 7 on home ice. But what they did in game 6 was more of a reflection of their team in a positive way than a negative way. I believe if they win that series, they win the cup going away, but they didn't. They lost in 7 games. I think if the Leafs had 1 elite puck-moving defenseman who can run a power play and 1 more top 6 forward, I think the Leafs could win the Stanley Cup this year.
I'm with you on that. I like their chances a lot. I think they're at least in the Final Four again, or the Final Four, not again. This will be the first time in a long time.
Yep.
All right, next question. Sean McIntyre. What's up, Sean? Hi, guys. Do you think Habs fans should just relax and let the process take its course since the Cup won't be for at least 3 years, maybe 5, and stop wanting everything now?
I'm not prepared to say 3 to 5. You never know, Sean. It could be sooner than that. But I do think they are really, again, I talked to a major member of their hierarchy. Jimmy, did I tell you that 2 days ago or 3? I forget now.
You did, but I wasn't going to bring it up unless you did.
No, it's okay. They're really going the right direction. Their organizational philosophy is fantastic. They're going to have bumps along the way like everybody else. I think budgets are going to get tighter for some of the Canadian teams because of the taxation issues in Canada. And that's not to say Florida wins because they have no – and don't get me wrong, Canadian teams can win the Cup. Just for ownership groups, they're going to have to look at scouting budgets, size of staff, what they're paying assistant coaches, what's their minor league budget, what's going to be their stick budget for the minor league. Like, there's a lot of different budgetary things that fans don't care about. You shouldn't have to. I'm just telling you, it's a very real thing, and some of these teams are starting to pay attention to it now. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch as we go along here. But no, the truth is that there are a lot of good teams in the league now because we haven't had expansion in a while. So the talent bucket's pretty full around the league.
Yeah. And I think one thing to be interesting too, like you saw the story I wrote with Jeff Gorton on the goaltending to see the workload for Dobis, because they definitely want to keep Montembeault under 60.
Yeah, and let's see. I mean, Dolbish can still go down without clearing waivers, whereas Kakinen has to clear waivers. And I'm not saying, he's going to be picked up, but you also got to think about what's your I saw something that was really cool. This is how I watch golf. I watch golf because I want to see what the players are doing, and maybe I can mimic them if they're good and I like their style. Or I can find out information that maybe helps me in hockey or scouting, something. Yep. So they put out a great thing on NBC the other day on Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler in his first 75 tournaments, 0, 0, and 0. Okay, so one AHL season for Scotty Scheffler, 75 events, 0, 0, meaning no wins, nothing. No majors, nothing. Next 75, it's crazy. It's like 4 majors, 17 tour victories. It's just the numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
So my point on this is I'm looking at that going, that's how you sell the American League to your player.
Mm-hmm. Development.
100%, and getting used to big moments in games, getting used to big moments with travel, getting used to time zone travel, like all these different things that kids don't really have to do. That's how you sell it.
Yeah.
And I thought what NBC did on that was so good. It was great for golf, but I'll tell you what, if you really love sports, it teaches you a lot about the development process.
Yeah.
So that was really good.
All right, next question. Robert Mahoney. Hey, guys, huge fans of the show. Thank you, Robert. I am watching you live from my flat in Wimbledon. All right. Excuse me. Main question for Pierre is, do you see Bolduc becoming a Sam Bennett-like player for the Habs?
He could be. The one thing I'll say about Bolduc, I think he shoots the puck a little bit harder than Sam Bennett does, but there's a lot of similarities there. I'll see this year in particular, Bennett's obviously a natural centerman. Bolduc can play center, but I think he's probably better positioned to be the wing,
right,
especially on the left side. But he could be. This kid's really, that was a heck of a pickup. Look, you got a gift to get. Montreal traded away a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see people taking shots at the kid all the time. Logan Meyer's a really good player.
Oh yeah.
There's no team in the league that wouldn't take him.
Yeah.
He obviously had his off-ice stuff in his draft year. We get it. He's lived through it. I think he's done a lot of good work to make himself better and not go through that again. But that being said, we're talking about just hockey now. He's a really good player. So Montreal had to give up a really good player to get a really good player, and they did. Zach Bolduc's a really good player.
You mentioned there, I agree, he seems more like a wing there, but I'm just wondering, with all this talk about the 2C there, do they at least experiment with it in preseason and see what it's like?
I'd look at it, but here's my concern, Jimmy. When you're the 2C, you got, like, I watched one of the best 2Cs of all time, Ronnie Francis, and he was right in the middle. You had Lemieux on top, and you had Trottier behind. But Ronnie did a lot of heavy lifting. I'm just telling you, Jimmy, I was there. I had a really good seat for it.
Yep.
And I know it's a lot of years ago, but the formula hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I'll use a Detroit one just for people that listen from all these different places. When they were running it up hard, Eiserman was in the 1 hole. Fedorov was in the 2 hole. Draper was in the 3 hole. So Fedorov was protected.
Yeah.
In different ways. Better at center than on the wing.
Right.
So do I think Bolduc could play center? Yeah, I do. Do I think Canadiens are positioned right now to put him there? No, I don't. I don't think that'd be in his best interest.
Yep. All right.
Hey, Robert, by the way, thank you, Robert, for that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Come up to Belfast, Robert. We'll see you there, I hope. All right, next question. Perlo Wisdom, do you think Sanderson has the chops to threaten a Norris this year? I think the answer is yes from Pierre.
Perlo, I do. I mean, Jimmy knows I didn't draft him, but I coached his dad, and his dad did fantastically well when I had the honor of coaching his father. 2 back-to-back 40-plus goal years. So I know the family really well. I spent a lot of time watching Jake after he was drafted by Ottawa at the U.S. National Team Development Program at the World Junior, obviously that was shortened because of COVID. At North Dakota, I spent a lot of time because he and Tyler Clevin were there right after Shane Pinto had turned pro with us. So I have maybe some more intel than a lot of people would on Jake. I think Jake could definitely challenge for a Norris Trophy. Maybe not this year, but he's gonna.
Yeah.
He's really good. That Four Nations thing last year helped him a lot.
Yeah.
It helped him a lot.
All right, next question. Peter Mendocros, you think by taking Struble to arbitration, they open the second buyout window to buy out a certain player?
I don't think
I don't think it'll get there,
I
but
don't think it'll get there. It's a great way to look at it, though.
yeah, it could be a strategy. I don't know.
Could be a strategy. I just don't. So Kent Hughes knows Struble from obviously Boston Prep. His son, one of his boys, was actually both boys. I think both boys were at St. Seb's when Struble was there. If not, I know one was for sure.
Yep.
But I think both were. There's a relationship there. I don't know if it's that deep on the strategy, but we'll see.
All right. Next question. Tom Etbier. Any chance the Q is expanding into the U.S.? I believe they already said one team is, right? I've heard grumblings about possible moves to Maine, New Hampshire, Mass, given their proximity to the hockey schools. Any insights? I swear one already did, Pierre. I'm not sure.
I don't think anybody's gone in yet.
Okay. Maybe there was talk about it. Yeah.
I know there's one market that would be, I'm not going to say it because there's a group that I've spoken with that I don't want to get them angry with me, but I think the market would work really well. They wouldn't really intrude on college organization. So I think it would work. And the travel would be, they're pretty well situated where it would be. So I'm pretty sure that will happen. I just don't know who will be.
None have happened yet. You're right. Pierre.
Has not, but I don't know who the owner would be. But I've talked to one group that was very interested in buying a team.
And look, this is just me speaking. I have no insight on this. I would look at like Portland again, maybe Pierre in Maine.
They have an East Coast League team that's done very well there.
Yeah.
They've got a very successful brand, but it's their East Coast League team is there.
Yep.
And they've also got a North American League team there.
Mm-hmm. Worcester still has an E team too, right?
They do. Worcester do. The Railers. Yep, they do.
Okay. All right, next question. Big Bill, Pierre and Jimmy, if Line A can't fit on the second line, I really don't see him fitting on a third and fourth. At that point, do you try to trade him? You
can't. You own him. That's like walking into the Crystal shop and they'd have the sign up that says, break the item, you bought it. You bought that. When you got him, you owned him.
Yep.
I remember saying that to Melnick. I said, great, you got him. You better hope it works because you own it.
Yeah. When he's not broken, though, he is one heck of a diamond.
Oh, my gosh. 100. He just can't be hurt.
I know.
And I think him getting married this summer is good for him. It's not bad for him. It's a good thing for him.
Yep. All right. Next question. I'm just going to say the letters. MKRCIVOJ. Does it make sense for the Capitals to pursue Jack Roslovic in free agency?
I don't think so, Jimmy.
I want to give credit to our good friend Rick Dhaliwal. According to his reports today, it looks like the Canucks and Roslovic are really in talks.
I'm on Rick's team on that, and I also think there's another team, and I don't want to talk about it, but I don't think Washington's where he ends up. I could be really wrong on that. And if it is Washington, I think he's got game, but I think there's another place that he's going.
All right, next question. Eric, love the avatar. UMass, go UMass. Hi, guys. Great show. I don't like the 19-year-old rule in the AHL. I don't see the advantage for development. Pierre, how can a player benefit from playing in the A versus NCAA at 19 years old?
So let's just say, for the sake of argument, Matthew Schaefer turns pro with the New York Islanders and plays 15 games. And then they realize there's way too much going on for this guy at this time. I'm using him as an example because he went number 1 overall. In previous years, he'd go back to junior, usually after the World Junior Hockey Championship. He'd go back to junior. In this case, there's no gain for him to go back to junior. He's too good. It's like Gavin McKenna.
Yeah.
He's too good. So McKenna hadn't been drafted yet. Like, go look at McKenna's numbers. That's my point on this. It's not for every player. But teams aren't going to be stupid. They're just not going to take a 19 and say, you're going to the American League. They're not going to do that. It's going to be used for appropriate players that they think have to grow. I'll give you an example. Like Porter Martone is a really big, strong kid. He is. Philadelphia drafted him. You'd think that they'd want to have him in the NHL. They know that he's not ready. So they're taking him out of junior. They're putting him into college. He'll go for 1 year. I don't think he'll go for 2. They'll bring him in. There you go.
Speaking of that, and him going there to Michigan, Pierre, I want to caution because I've been seeing this so much when any of these players transfer from the juniors to the college. That doesn't automatically mean your team's going to win a national championship or make it to the Frozen Four. Okay. No. And this is no knock on these players that are coming in from juniors to college. They're amazing players, but it's a different game. And some of them, most of them will be able to handle it. But I'm just saying, just have patience there, because I don't want when these teams don't make it, everybody turns around and said, oh, this guy's a bust. It doesn't mean he's a bust. It just means he's developing still.
The scary part about this, and from where I watch it from, there are going to be guys that are going to come down from major junior, because I'm reading all these things that Jimmy sends me. They're expecting this many goals from this guy and that many assists from this guy, and he's going to dominate here. And that guy, easy.
Yeah.
Easy. There are no 15, 16, and 17-year-olds in college hockey. The only 17-year-old I know that was in college hockey that was really good is Macklin Celebrini. Okay? Just easy. Pump the brakes. It's a way different group.
Like these rankings, it's like insane. They're handing the trophy to Penn State already. And I'm like, whoa.
So let me ask you this, Jimmy. Like, because we went to a lot of college games this year, and I know how much you watch it. You think it's easy for a 20-year-old to play college hockey? It's not. You know it, and I know it's hard.
Yeah. But it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing for their development.
The caliber of playing all these is going to be awesome. It's going to be off the charts. It's going to be
awesome. All right, next question. A to Z me. If I can ask a second question, of course you can.
Of course.
What does Pierre think about Blaze's chances to crack the Habs bottom 6?
Good.
That's a good question.
Really good. Sammy's a character kid. Hard, really good forechecker. Tough as nails. Coming off a championship in Abbotsford this year. My only concern with Sammy is just health. It's just health. I'm really glad the Canadiens reached out and gave this kid a chance.
Does Veleno go in there, though? Does that hurt his chances, Pierre?
No, I think eventually, if they can't find a 2, remember, Dvorak left. So maybe Evans pops up to 3. Veleno goes 4, and maybe Veleno goes in the 3 hole. Evans is in the 4 hole.
Okay.
And then they've got, again, I call it roster flexibility. They got roster flexibility.
Yeah, which is a good thing. And
so a lot of it comes down to what they do to get, and you know as well as I do, what's the best way to, let's just say they get a second center, Jimmy. They're going to have to trade some parts to get that. Like, that's not coming for free.
Right.
And it's not just going to be, and Canadiens are smart enough. They're not just moving draft picks. They're going to have to move prospects, or they're going to have to move live NHL players.
Yep. All right. And yeah, I knew it. Sammy was on that 19 Blues team. I remember him coming up late in the year.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next question. Ethan Russell, do you think if the Predators get off to a bad start, oh man, imagine if they do that again, they should do what the Bruins did at the deadline last year? Seems like they have a good amount of prospects to rebuild around. They do have more now.
They do have more. I think it's going to be wait and see. I do. I thought they'd make more moves, roster moves this year.
Me too.
But maybe they weren't able to. I don't know. But I was a little surprised.
Yeah. I wonder with that team, Pierre, are they going to, in order to make a big impact move, like you just said before, you got to give to get, like, are they too hesitant to trade any of their core guys that have been there for a while? And I'm talking before their free agent frenzy last year. I'm talking before that. Do you think there's a hesitancy there just because They love them so much.
Well, that's why you never fall in love with players.
There you go.
They're like racehorses and ex-wives. All they do is cost you money.
Threw that one right over the plate for you.
That's not my line. That came from William Scott Bowman. We got that from Toe Blake. You can like your players.
I just that's what it seems like is going on. I don't have any insight.
All I'll say is this:
from the outside.
you got to give him credit. David Poile, who's a Hall of Fame general manager, by the way, like when he got Philip Forsberg, that was an amazing acquisition.
I know.
You know, Ray Shore and Paul Fenton were there when they drafted, and Rick Knickel, by the way, who never got enough credit on that. Rick Knickel was their Western scout when they drafted Shea Weber. You know, like Roman Josi, he's a heck of a player.
Oh yeah.
Like these guys drafted phenomenally well in Nashville, especially on defense and in goal. Like Pekka Rinne wasn't even the starter for his club team. It was Nicholas Backstrom. Ray Shero drafted him based on Jani Kikalainen telling him, we got a really good goalie here in Finland, but he never plays. So Ray goes, when can I watch him? He goes, practice and pregame. So Ray went over there for 3 days and watched them practice and go on a morning skate, and they drafted him.
Yeah.
He never played.
And you look at teams, Pierre, that have had internal caps over the year. They did an amazing job dealing with that. And I think utilizing, like you said, the draft. So great job. All right, next question. Juice, Pierre, is the gap between Braden Point and Nick Suzuki really that big? Most people will say Point is better, but I think it's closer than people think.
Braden's probably more explosive scoring goals. I think Nick's all-around game's really good. They're really similar, actually. That's a great question. That is a really
good analogy.
You couldn't lose with either guy.
Right.
They're both excellent players. You know, when Nick came, you got to give Mark Bergevin credit on that one. That was in the Pacioretty deal.
Mm-hmm.
When Nick came, glowing reviews. Glowing reviews. Vegas didn't want to trade him. They wanted to trade somebody else. I'm not going to say his name, but Bergevin and his staff demanded that they get Nick Suzuki. So I think they're two very similar players. Really.
All right. Next question. Renaissance Resistor. Is Tampa's window still open, Pierre?
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it's still open.
This is why, Jimmy, we talked about this off the air. This is for Renaissance Resistor. I don't like the playoff format in the league, and I know the league will be mad at me, and I'll probably get a text later today because I said this. I don't like it. Why should Florida have to play Tampa back-to-back years? You know, why should LA have to play Edmonton all the time in a playoff, like in the first round?
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people, well, tell them to get better and get to another spot. How do you know they still won't play each other?
Yeah.
I just don't like the way it's set up.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Mike, looking over the Habs rosters in the late 90s and early 2000s, why did it go wrong during those years? Those teams were hard. They still had that team in 2002. Well, it was basically Jose Theodore in 2004 when they beat the Bruins in the first round. But yeah, they had a lot of deficiencies for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just leave it at that. Sounds good to me. Okay, we're going to take one more, and then we got to get out of here. What do we got? Juice. Pierre, what was your favorite NHL arena to broadcast games at?
There's so many. I loved, because I'm from Montreal, I loved it in Montreal. Toronto was never boring. Vancouver was amazing, especially the 2010 Olympics. Hard to say not Chicago, though, at the United Center. Hard not to say Chicago. Like, you, a Stanley Cup. I coached in the Stanley Cup final in the old stadium in '92. 2 games, actually. We swept them. So games 3 and 4. That was amazing, Jimmy. It was amazing. Oh. I think I told you a story. You walk up the steps from your dressing room. You get on the ice. There's just one bright light at each end of the ice where the players and the coaches come up. You walk, and you could kind of feel the stairs shaking as you got up higher towards the ice surface. Then you get on the bench. And I'm not kidding you, during the anthem, everybody, the floor shook, the bench was shaking. Like, you thought it was an earthquake, man. It wasn't. So amazing. Chicago, to me, I did the cup there in 10, did the cup there in 13, did the cup there in 15, and heaven knows how many playoff games I did there over the course of, 5 or 6 years, and when Chicago was really good. So it's hard for me not to say Chicago.
You ever sit in the press box Pierre in the old Boston Garden?
Oh, God, yeah. Millions of times. Yeah. Nate Greenberg, my buddy, used to get me.
Nate's a great guy.
Nate was great.
Oh, yeah.
You had to walk through that little. Cubby
right through the fans, right? The fans were right there. Yeah.
You're like, you better not be too big, or you're gonna have a hard time fitting through that thing. Yeah, Nate was great, and he's still going. Nate's still going. He follows all the hockey. He's a guy. I'm a huge Nate Greenberg fan. I think he's great, and I just remember Nate would be playing. I think it was backgammon up in the press room. Harry Sinnen would be there. Milt Schmidt would be like, I'm going back now. That's when I broke in the league. Wow. These guys were larger than life to me. You know, Milt Schmidt was a legend, man. Legend. So it was really cool to go into Boston. But I remember going to that press box to scout games. I'd be like, oh man. Sometimes it would shake too.
I remember walking by it and just seeing all the people walking up there, like looking like, what is this?
How about when you had to sit up in the upper part of the building and you had one of those steel poles right in your way?
Yep. There's that scene. What was the movie? Oh, I'm going to draw a blank. I'll remember and say it next time because I know our producer Shane's got to book it here.
Sorry, Shane. We're
there's a great movie, Friends of Eddie Coyle, and they filmed like a scene. Check it out, Pierre. There's a scene right in the balcony, like you're saying. They got the pole there and everything, and they're eating a dog, and then they stand up because Bobby Orr's got the puck and he's gone.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, listen, thanks to everyone for all their questions. Thanks to all our viewers and listeners. Thanks to Shane working the board up there in Montreal. Thanks to Betway.
Don't forget Sarah Stanton and everybody at the
close it off.
Okay, good.
That, Pierre.
Just want to remind you.
And of course, yes, as Pierre said, thanks to Sarah Stanton, Cara Travel, and everybody involved with the Friendship Forward. We're really excited about that. We'll have more information as we go on and get closer. But until next week, this has been another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.